The Airbus A380 is truly a marvel of modern engineering. This gigantic twin-deck passenger airliner built by Airbus could seat almost 900 passengers in an all-economy configuration. Or it could fly for almost 15,000 kilometers with a viable payload, or halfway across the world. Yet, on the 19th of March 2021, the 251st and last Airbus A380 to be built for a customer left the factory in Toulouse to fly to Hamburg, Germany to be kitted out. This is a far cry from the almost 1,000 A380s that Airbus expected to build, and begs the question, why was the Airbus A380 a commercial failure? Hi, and welcome to Excuse the Beard, a new video podcast started by me, Kushan Mitra, on things that really interest me, and I hope they interest you too. Now, more plain, less beard. It is truly an awe-inspiring sight to watch an A380 take off, both inside and outside the aircraft. A fully laden A380 that weighs 575 tons feels like it is defying the laws of physics as it leaves the ground. In the early 2000s, Airbus predicted a massive uptick in global air travel, and with airliners needing large numbers of new aircraft to cater to that demand, as well as replace aging Boeing 747s. They predicted a market for over 1,300 very large aircraft that could seat more than 400 passengers. These planes would fly between major aviation hubs, transporting large number of passengers. A380 was predicted to fill this demand, but the birth of the A380 was a difficult one. Airbus had grossly underestimated the engineering challenges that they would face. And they made matters worse for themselves when the French and German parts of Airbus that were building components for the A380 used different versions of the CATIA software, making wiring for the earliest aircraft impossible. In fact, the first few A380s had to be hand wired, and this created major delays in getting the A380 into service.
Airbus A380 was finally delivered to Singapore Airlines on the 15th of October 2007, and it entered commercial service on the 25th of October 2007. Soon after the first Airbus A380 started to enter commercial service, on the 15th of September 2008, the collapse of Lehman Brothers sent the global economy, and thus aviation demand, into a tailspin. This led to many airlines reconsidering their purchase orders for the Airbus A380, and some, like India's Kingfisher Airlines, suffering a huge financial loss, had to cancel their orders of the Airbus A380. However, global air travel would not stay down for long, and the Airbus A380 went on to enjoy a modicum of success with Dubai-based airline Emirates. Emirates Airline, which operated the A380 on a whole variety of routes from Europe to North America, had equipped their aircraft with an onboard lounge and bar in business class, as well as showers in first class. Emirates went on to become the single largest operator of the A380, ordering as many as 123 of them. Indeed, the last five aircraft built will all go to the Dubai-based airline. I was lucky enough to experience the Emirates first class A380 service on a flight between Dubai and Moscow back in 2018. And my word, having a shower at 35,000 feet is something else. It is a truly surreal experience. And the rest of Emirates' first class experience is pretty awesome too. The food and the drinks are at another level. Emirates really took the A380 to new heights.
However, the recovery of global air travel following the 2008 financial crisis created an existential problem for the Airbus A380. New versions of aircraft like the Boeing 777 and the emergence of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner signaled a fundamental change in the way people flew. Point to point travel between two destinations became the norm. Flights such as those between India and the United States, were finally possible thanks to these new, efficient twin aircraft that could operate for very long distances thanks to new rules surrounding extended twin operations or ETOPS. Take a route such as Delhi to San Francisco. Today, Air India and United operate non-stop services on this sector, something that was not even possible 10 years ago. Earlier, passengers would have to fly from Delhi to a major hub such as Dubai, Frankfurt, London, or Paris. Now they can fly non-stop. Even Airbus realizes the fundamental shift in travel and started developing the new A350 extra wide body or A350 XWB. By virtue of having between 250 to 350 seats, these aircraft were far more efficient and far easier for airlines to fill and had a far lower running cost per seat kilometer than the Airbus A380.
While Emirates' business model, centered around its hub at Dubai International, could sustain the A380, which is why the airline ordered 123 of them and remains the largest operator of the aircraft today.
However, aircraft such as the Boeing 787 and the A350 sounded the death knell for demand for the Airbus A380. Airbus's big bet that passengers would fly in large numbers between hubs had lost out to Boeing's bet on point-to-point travel. The Boeing 787 began to dominate the skies, whereas many other airlines wondered what to do with these huge white elephants called the A380. Even before the pandemic, Airbus had announced that they would stop production of the A380. The virus pandemic, however, saw a massive decline in aviation demand, leading to airlines such as Air France and Lufthansa, the flag carriers of the countries that built the A380, to retire these aircraft. Some of Lufthansa's youngest A380s were barely 6 years old and they will never fly again. Sadly, the very first Airbus A380s built for Singapore Airlines have already been scrapped. In fact, a few more Airbus A380s for Emirates and Air France are at the scrapping yard themselves. The second-hand market for the Airbus A380 is also very weak. Portuguese charter airline Highfly tried to make it work, but they couldn't. And the collapse of the international aviation market following the coronavirus pandemic has meant it is unlikely that the second-hand market for Airbus A380s will recover anytime soon, given that there is a glut of brand new aircraft in the market right now. Airbus themselves have conceded that the 25 billion euros they spent on developing the A380 is a loss. Thank God the A320 and A350 lines are so very profitable for the plane maker. Maybe one day when global air travel recovers, we will look at the A380 and say, why didn't we keep it for any longer? There might be the need for a new 6, 7 or even 800 seat aircraft that can fly efficiently between 2 points. But for now, the Airbus A380's dream run is over. But was it a dream or a nightmare? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below and do subscribe for more from Excuse the Beard.